going to cut right to it. If your Meta Ads account is solely chasing ROAS and not properly focusing on new customer acquisition, then you're slowly killing your business. The brands that are actually scaling right now have completely shifted their approach. They've stopped letting Meta target their existing customers and built a creative system that allows them to find winners and scale their ad account into new cold audiences. In this video, I'll walk you through the exact 5-step frameworks that we use at our agency to scale brands from 7 to 8 figures by focusing exclusively on new customer acquisition. And I'll show you the creative testing formula that's generated over $20 million in new customer revenue for our clients. My name's Liam, and together with my co-founder Jack, we've generated over $50 million in new customer revenue for direct-to-consumer brands through our agency Vulcan Digital. And you can check us out at the links below or join our free weekly newsletter where you can get guides like these delivered to your inbox every single week. But let's get something straight. The primary function of paid advertising is to help you find new customers for your business. It's not to remarket to customers who've already bought from you. For years, brands have been conditioned by agencies to worship at the altar of ROAS, where high ROAS is good and low ROAS is bad. But this metric is far too simplistic for the complexities of paid media, the complexities of brand growth. And the easiest way then to inflate ROAS is by targeting your warmest audiences, your existing customers. The algorithm loves this because conversion rates are high, but in fact, your business isn't actually growing. So instead, you need to focus on acquiring new customers. But when you do this, when you exclude past purchasers and focus solely on acquiring new customers, what happens? The first thing you'll see is an immediate drop in in-platform ROAS. At this point, most marketers begin to panic. But in reality, this approach has far better downstream effects for your business. So what we do to exclude past purchasers is we have a 2-step approach. And the first method we use is by uploading your customer list directly from Shopify. And the second method is by implementing a Klaviyo sync. This ensures, to the highest match rate possible, that we're excluding all past purchasers from our Facebook ads campaigns. You see, the hard truth is this: the only way to actually scale your Facebook ads campaigns are by scaling into new cold audiences. So the success that you see with angles, with messaging, with storytelling approaches, with creative against cold audiences is the only true measure of optimization for long-term growth. Now that you're solely focusing on new audiences, you need a creative testing approach. Very, very often I get asked the question, how many creatives should we be testing? So we use a mathematical approach to answer that question. So the first step is where we look at your current or your projected monthly budget. From there, we're going to allocate a percentage of your budget that's solely for creative testing. So generally, this is between 10 and 20% of your total monthly budget. If you want to be more conservative and you want to promote more efficiency throughout the entirety of your account, err on the lower side of 10%. Or if you're a newer account and you want to be very aggressive with testing and you want to learn quickly, we'll increase that number up towards 20, 25, and sometimes even 30% of your total monthly budget. From there, you want to determine your creative validation budget. And what your CVB is essentially the total ad spend that needs to run through a creative concept to determine whether that concept has been a success or a failure. And our general rule of thumb is to take your average order value and multiply it by 3, and that will give you your creative validation budget. From there, you want to divide your total testing budget for the month by your creative validation budget. That will give you the total number of creative concepts that you should be testing every single month. So let me show you an example. This is a health and wellness brand. They're spending $15,000 per month on ads and they want to test at a 20% creative testing budget. So they will have $3,000 per month allocated for testing. Their average order value is $67, meaning their creative validation budget is 3 times that amount, approximately $200. So the number of new creative concepts that they can be testing every single month is $3,000, their total testing budget, divided by $200, their CVB, giving a total of 15 tests per month. Most often then, we recommend breaking this down into 3 or 4 creative concept tests per week. You have to remember that testing is investing. Not every test will succeed, and in fact, most will fail. The goal for your testing budget isn't to be profitable. It's to find winning ad creative that you can push in scaling campaigns. So now that we've talked about creative volume, we need to be speaking about creative diversity. And we'll start by discussing exactly what is a creative concept. To me, a distinct and new creative concept doesn't come from taking one concept that you already have and changing a headline or an image color or something very small. To me, true creative diversity means testing across different formats like static, video, motion graphics, different messaging approaches, different hooks, and different angles. By taking big swings with your creative, you'll identify much more quickly what is working and also, as importantly, what is not. And this helps you appeal to different segments of your audience, tapping into new audience pockets and ultimately allowing you to increase your total addressable market. For brands in the high 6 or low 7-figure mark, we generally recommend testing a lot of your creative via static ads. And the reason for this is they're very, very cheap to produce. Brands in this region of 6 to 7 figures don't always have a huge budget to pump into new creatives. Static ads are a very easy way for you to test multiple different messages and formats, decide what works, and then when you transition into different visual formats like video or UGC, you can be much more confident and knowing that your message, your hooks, and your angles are resonating with your ICP. But the key question for every single brand, irrespective of if you're doing 6 figures per month or 8, is are your ad tests truly diverse from one another, or are they just minor variations of the same concept? And it's really important that that is not the case. So how do we structure our ad campaigns to allow for optimal testing and perfect graduation into scaling campaigns? Well, with our testing structure, we use ABO, ad set budget optimization. This allows us to give each ad set, which is a distinct concept, its own creative validation budget. Once we have identified winning ads, we then graduate them to dedicated scaling campaigns. And this serves 2 critical purposes. The first is that it allows us to control and push more budget through proven winners. And the second is that by taking out our winning creative concepts from our testing campaigns, we're keeping our testing environment clean. If you keep your winning ad creative inside in your testing campaigns, but what you're doing is risking Facebook's algorithm prioritizing spend to those ads and starving your new tests of budget and data. And this creates a vicious cycle where you can't properly evaluate new tests. And when we find a winning ad, we don't just recreate it or set up a new version of it in our scaling campaign. And the reason for this is we'll lose all the social proof that we've paid to accumulate. So instead, we're going to use something called post IDs to transfer all of that valuable engagement. And the way that we do it is firstly, we preview our winning Facebook ad with comments. So you'll see this option here. So we'll go up to our URL and we'll see a series of numbers at the end of the URL. This is the post ID. We'll copy the post ID from the URL and we'll set up a new ad. We'll use existing ad content and will then be prompted to drop in our post ID. So now we've graduated our winning ad into its dedicated scaling campaign, and we've preserved all of the likes, all of the comments, and all of the shares, giving us more engagement, cheaper CPMs, and higher trust signals to new audiences. So there's the 5-step framework that we use to help brands scale from 7 to 8 figures by focusing exclusively on new customer acquisition. You have to stop chasing ROAS and exclude your existing customers from Meta. You then need to use a creative testing system that's built on mathematical logic and not guesswork. Within that system, you need to be maintaining true creative diversity. And then you have to structure your campaigns properly so that you have a clear distinction between testing campaigns and scaling campaigns. And lastly, utilize post IDs to preserve your social proof when you're graduating your winning ads into new campaigns. And if you want more strategies like these delivered to your inbox, then the link to our weekly newsletter is in the description below. And if you're a business owner looking to scale from 7 to 8 figures, then book a call with me today and we'll discuss how we can make that happen. I'll see you at the next video.